Hey guys, welcome to week 4 of the NAIFBALL show. My name is Corey Thorpe. I'm here with my co-host John Cooper. John, we started to hop a little bit into division and conference games last week. What do you think about all that?
We had our game of the week with Lindsey Wilson versus Faulkner, a Mid-South showdown. They used to be in the same division in the Mid-South, but now, you got Lindsey Wilson in a different division. Faulkner's migrated down to the Sun. It was great seeing those two play. Lindsey Wilson and Coach Oliver took care of business, but we're going to get to that here in a little bit. Corey, go ahead and do our spiel. Go ahead and tell them what we're going to talk about tonight.
Hey, man, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to go over some scores from around the league. We're going to take a look at a couple notable performances that happened. A couple of them that are, Cliff Kingsbury would be happy.
Yeah, guys, if you didn't know, the NAIA, we have a lot of great offenses here. And for the 76 viewers we have right now on Twitter and the few we have on YouTube, you're in for a good night.
You're in for a treat. So let's get to it. The NAIFBALL is first and foremost brought to you by Fifth Quarter CFB. They're our parent company. They make all of this possible. They believe in small college football.
Corey, they're doing a $100 giveaway.
Oh, snap.
And I heard a rumor that they're going to give it away to somebody on the NAIFBALL that retweets from there. So I might go follow those guys and get a retweet because I know a bunch of you guys viewing right now are those college kids that could use $100 in your pocket.
Absolutely. I can use $100 in my pocket. So let's take a look at some of the results from around the league. We talked about a little bit Lindsey Wilson and Faulkner. And like John said, Lindsey Wilson really came in and took care of business. Cameron Dukes was 17 of 33 for 263 yards. And Jalen Boyd broke the century mark on the ground.
One thing that really stood out to me, and Coach Oliver and his staff is great at this, that 3-3 stack, 3-4 defense that they traditionally have over there, the schematics. Faulkner could not run the ball at all. Corey, you can't win football games if you don't run the ball, okay? When they even got to Alabama, they were an I formation team, ran it down people's throats. Now they've evolved to that spread offense, but they still run the ball. Faulkner could not run the ball at all. And that's my alma mater over there. I think Faulkner's going to do well in the Sun Division, but I think that says a lot about Lindsey Wilson's front seven.
That was 32 yards on 20 rushes.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of mental math there. That's about 1.8 yards per carry.
Right. You got to be able to run the ball. I think we both can agree with that.
Well, and they turned over Mason Blocker a couple times too and kept him under control.
And Mason, both of them had turnovers. I think both quarterbacks, Cameron Dukes and Mason, both had 2 interceptions. Kind of uncharacteristically out both of them. But the team that ran the ball won the game. They controlled the game. Faulkner didn't start scoring until late in the second half. So very impressed with Lindsey Wilson. That's why they moved up in the polls a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about Langston, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Langston wasn't the only one that played an FCS team this weekend.
We had a couple too.
We had a couple, and but they took their lumps. They got their paycheck. I think that's one of the greatest things about these games is that these NAIA schools are getting those paychecks. And if you're not a competitor that wants to go play those bigger schools, I don't know what to tell you. But, I was hoping to see some more points on the board from Langston, especially after they struggled with their KCAP component, McPherson, earlier. I think it was McPherson.
Yes.
Don't quote me on that.
It was.
Okay, McPherson. I was hoping to see some more offense. They're really missing that senior class from last year.
I tell you, the other FCS game, and I didn't write that one down because it was so lopsided.
Right.
With Morehead State
and Kentucky Christian. But it was 28-28 at halftime.
Yeah, Kentucky Christian gave them all but one for a half. Now, Morehead State opened it up afterwards, and they ended up scoring 70.
I think that shows the NAIA, when you have 28 or something full scholarships going against a team with 65 full scholarships, it's hard to compete. But Kentucky Christian showed why they earned that top 25 ranking. They just missed out this week in the top 25, but I have a feeling they'll be back. They're going to score on anybody and everybody this year.
Now, the upset of the week was Rocky Mountain and Carroll. Rocky Mountain was riding high on a 2-0 or 2-0 start to their season. They march into Billings or Helena, and they get their butt handed to them.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
We worried about Carroll a little bit. They had that off year last year.
Yeah,
replaced their legendary head coach, but the Frontier Conference needs to know that Carroll's back.
absolutely.
And they're in our top 25 this week. I actually ranked them higher than what they ended up as collectively. But just like that Lindsey Wilson-Faulkner game, Carroll ran the ball. Rocky Mountain could not run the ball at all. You got to run the ball to win games.
Absolutely. Rocky's leading rusher went 5 times for 21 yards. That was Cole Williams. Sam Sparks only rushed 9 times for 18 yards. But on Carroll's side, Matthew Burgess rushed 21 times for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's how you do it right there.
And they took care of the ball. They only had 1 turnover.
Absolutely.
That's if you can run the ball, have 500+ yards of total offense, take care of the ball, you're going to blow somebody out.
And so we were talking, early this week. Frontier is going to be an interesting thing to rank later on this season.
And for those guys, I know we have some Frontier people listening in right now. That's one of the hardest things. They talk about it's hard to beat a team twice in major college football. Well, here in the NAI and the Frontier, you play teams twice in the regular season. It's just automatic round-robin schedule. So Frontier is going to be – and I believe that Rocky and Carroll do play again.
Yeah.
So it's going to be intriguing to see that second round game or that second time.
So let's go to our top 25. But before we do, we had fully intended to give you guys a top 5 plays this week, and
it's still happening this week. It's not happening on the live show.
It's just not happening live. So
we'll be tweeting it out.
I had him here. I had them in my slideshow that you see behind me, and I got here and I tested it, and it didn't play. So we're going to get it figured out so that we can do our best Boomer Esiason
there you go
impressions, and we can make up weird nicknames for people, as they go, kind of like they do on ESPN, but just not going to be live this week. We'll get it figured out.
Well, hey, at least the top 25 is live.
Absolutely.
It feels like the major college football playoff show right behind us. So let's go ahead and get to it.
Major props to our buddy Parker, who again made the graphics and made that fantastic graphic behind us. I saw that, my jaw dropped there. That is beautiful. So major props to him for making all those graphics for us. That was phenomenal. So let's start at the bottom. Carroll sneaks in at number 25. They have a 1-1 record there.
Yeah, absolutely deserved it after their showing against Rocky Mountain. Weird thing about polls, guys, and a little bit of poll inertia, but it'll all work itself out. I know we see Rocky out in front of Carroll. Personally, I had Rocky ranked below Carroll, but this is a top 25 that is is by 4 different media entities. Us, the JV Sports Show, Oklahoma Sports, the Champion Sports Network.
And it's actually 5.
Right.
Helena 94.9 is on it too.
We got somebody directly in Carroll's home backyard voting for it. So this is a very well-rounded poll.
So you're not going to see too much Carroll, even though we've got one of their guys in voting on it. That's the reason we do it like we do, try to keep it balanced. But you'll notice up at number 21, Rocky does fall 7 spots.
Yeah, they had a huge fall. And, I mean, deservingly so, but we've doubted Coach Stutz before. It'd be eager to see if they get back on track.
I really think they will.
Don't they have – yeah, well, look at number 22 right there. Rocky Mountain plays Montana Western this week.
That's one of our
– We're getting to it. Go ahead.
You're getting a little ahead of me, but you're good. Number 24, Kaiser. They had a bye week this week. They get it going again this week. And again, that's another one we're going to be
it's
watching.
It's a top
for.
25 matchup for Kaiser.
Absolutely.
The boys from West Palm Beach. Go ahead, number 23.
And number 23 is Southeastern University. Got it off to a good start against Point. Got a pretty good lead.
Yeah, well, Southeastern showing why they've won the Sun Division 4 straight years in a row. So.
Absolutely. We'll have to see what they do this week. Again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Right.
16 through 20, we start with Langston. Langston's sort of fallen off a little bit. I really do want to see them once they really get into the heart of conference play.
Yeah, out there in the Sooner Athletic Conference. We definitely want to see what they have. We notice there is a little bit of a drop-off with Langston right now, but we definitely want to see what they have in conference play.
Absolutely. Just up of them are the Ottawa Braves out of Kansas.
Yeah, Ottawa, tough-nosed team.
Yep.
They're 1-1 right now. It's going to be interesting to see. They're going to get to meet their KCAC schedule. Everybody has the eyes on Kansas Wesleyan. They went 1-1. Did they lose?
Ottawa?
Yeah, they lose too.
I don't remember.
We'll have to check. I think they're 1-0.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'll have to fact check myself.
So Ottawa, Kansas guys, sorry about that, but
Bethel got a win last week. A good win goes to 2-1.
Yeah, a win is a win is a win. They struggled a little bit with Warner, and so
it's
a win. Yeah, they pulled away, did what they were supposed to do in the fourth quarter. So we'll keep seeing what happens.
Go ahead.
Ottawa, Arizona. They seem like the media darlings right now, especially in our private messages and whatever we're discussing. Everybody's pretty confident over there, especially with the quarterback they have.
I'm really interested to see because they're in that Sooner Athletic Conference too.
Right, and they have the win over the Division II team out in New Mexico.
So really and truly, when Ottawa and Langston play, that's going to be pretty much your conference championship right there when that comes around.
Oh yeah, so Ottawa, Arizona is really interesting. They got I have the game against Oklahoma Panhandle State circled. Two great offenses there, but it's going to be an absolute war, I think, with them and Langston. I think Langston will start hitting their stride then, and we'll see what happens. Number 16 is Dickinson State. They are the crown winners of the North Star here recently, past 4 years. But, they're isolated over there. They really need some of their conference mates to pick it up for them.
And we'll see as we go what happens there in the North Star and if anybody comes to play there and challenges them for their number one spot in their conference. Going to 11 through 15, we've got Evangel, who we were talking about it in our media group, that they're a really tough team to rank right now.
Yeah, guys, apologize. Some of the records are wrong up there, but Evangel's 3-0.
Yep, they sure are.
They've struggled a little bit, but their defense has been nothing but stout. And it's going to be eager to see what happens in the Hart Conference with them. They play Benedictine later in October, and we both have Benedictine in the top 5.
Yep.
So they'll have plenty of chances to prove themselves.
But the teams they face this year have all been winless.
Right.
And so it's really kind of an odd place to put them. We put a 3-0 team who the folks that they've played are 0-9. But we'll really see that come this weekend, what we get. Cumberlands of Kentucky at number 14. A little bit of pole inertia there with the bye.
Yeah, they've really been staying around. And like we said, guys, it's all going to work itself out coming up. They've only beaten Ave Maria, and I say only. Ave Maria was the Toad Sun champs. They got Weber coming up, and their schedule is pretty favorable until they get to later in the year with like Georgetown and Lindsey Wilson.
Yeah.
So they should make a good run and have a high ranking by the time playoffs come around.
Absolutely. Speaking of Lindsey Wilson, they go up, or they stay around that same spot after defeating Faulkner.
Yeah, absolutely. They dominated the game. They should be up there, and really looking forward to seeing what they're doing.
Really and truly, once we're in this kind of top 15 area, it's a lot more stable than the bottom 10 in that ranking.
Right. Next up is College of Idaho. They returned the most starters out of anybody in the NAIA, and they're showing why. They were on a 5-game winning streak at the end of the year last year. They're 3-0, so 8 straight wins coming up. That's got to be up there as far as active winning streaks right now. They have a bye week coming up, and they're preparing for previous champions Rocky Mountain. So
that'll be a showdown.
Rocky's going to have their hands full the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And then number 11, we see the Baker Wildcats there.
Baker, they had that tough loss to Grandview. That's one of those games you don't want to see early in the year. But they put out their frustrations on Graceland and beat them 76. Graceland has a new head coach this year, so they took their frustrations out, and they showed that offense is clicking because last week we didn't see it against Grandview.
I'm going to interrupt this top 25 to see if I can stump you on some trivia.
Oh, man.
What Olympic star from the 70s played football at Graceland?
Olympic star. What would they do in the Olympics?
I think track and field, but they're not known for the Olympics. They're known for who they're married to.
I have no idea. Who is that?
It'd be Caitlyn Jenner.
Really?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Graceland alumni.
Played football at Graceland.
Caitlyn Jenner. Wow.
Tell that one to your friends.
Yeah. Awesome.
What am I going to do with that one? So let's get to our top 10. We start out with Reinhardt out of Georgia. We had a lot of questions about Reinhardt.
Yeah, they seem. I wouldn't use the word complacent. They're a physical ball club, but I mean they're 3-0. What can you say? They went to hosted Campbellsville, took care of business. I'm really eager to see them play Kennesaw State in a couple weeks. That FCS game, very physical. I don't know if Kennesaw is ready for that. Everybody overlooks the NAIA team, but they are one of our games of the week here with Kaiser. They got to take care of Kaiser first before they look for that big showdown with that in-state FCS opponent.
Sure do. At number 9, we see Grandview taking care of business.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? That defense is stout over there.
It really is. You're gonna hear a lot of the same going through this top 10. St. Xavier had a bye week. They get back into it this week.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. They had that upset against Marion last year in the playoffs. I don't know if they play this year or not because they're in different divisions. I'll fact check myself real quick. But St. Xavier should definitely take care of their side. It's not as tough. The Midwest side is definitely not as tough as the Mid-East side. But let's see. Nope, they avoid Marion this year, but they have Concordia, and they have – that's it. That's it on that side.
Ooh, that's lucky.
So, yeah.
So, at number 7 was Northwestern. They struggled a lot, but from what I hear, there's been some sickness that was going around that campus.
Right.
And so there was a lot of external things going on there.
It's the year of the Red Raider. So very surprising that they had that 1-point victory against Midland. I thought they were going to blow them out.
Yeah.
So if it's the year of the Red Raider, they got to pick it up, sick or not.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta pull the Michael Jordan and have that flu game.
That's right.
And the number 6 is Marion. They got off to a good start, beating a St. Ambrose team, and unfortunately for St. Ambrose, it wasn't particularly close.
Not at all. And Marion has a pretty favorable schedule the next 2 weeks before they have to sharpen up for St. Francis, Indiana, that rivalry game.
I'll tell you what, those first couple weeks of October for that mid-states with Marion and Concordia and St. Francis is going to be a round robin to see who stays up there because they all play each other.
Yes, very tough. Now, for the next ranked team, we got number 5, Concordia, cracking the top 5. They took care of business against Olivet Nazarene. They beat a Division II team. That was a tough. Yeah, I think Olivet Nazarene, for those guys listening out there, I think they'll see our top 25 eventually at some point. Yeah. I think they're a very quality ball club and might be outside the playoff picture come season end. But Concordia, they got to go to – or they host I think they host St. Francis. No, they go to St. Francis, Illinois.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
But so that St. Francis team over there hasn't had very much success. So
Yeah.
another tune-up game. Number 4, Kansas Wesleyan. Keep putting points on the board.
Yeah.
Shaq Bradford keeps getting sacks. DeMarco Pruitt on the ground.
Johnny Photo through the
Yeah,
air.
Johnny. They are the cream of the crop in the K-Cap.
Different week, same result. St. Francis of Indiana still catching that one first place vote.
Yeah, that's actually my first place vote.
Oh well, I wasn't going to ask you that vote, but yeah, they get back on it this week as well.
Yeah, they play Robert Morris. So I really expect they have Robert Morris and St. Andrews this next 2 weeks. And that Marion game will be our NAI game of the week. I guarantee it.
I am almost certain of it. Number 2, Benedictine is actually surprisingly starting to lose a little bit of steam in the polls a little bit to St. Francis. They're kind of neck and neck.
Which is crazy. I mean, Benedictine's been going out blowing up everybody in their play. They really won't have a tough game until Grandview in October, that first week.
Check the stat. Benedictine has had 22 rushing touchdowns, none any other way.
Wow, that stopped drinking my Gatorade for that. That's unbelievable.
That is crazy.
That's a team after my own heart.
Absolutely. That offensive line is road grading. Speaking of road grading. Morningside.
What do they feed those boys out there in Iowa?
I don't know, but if I'm RJ Ponder, I am happy for whatever they are feeding them.
Right, and go ahead and talk about the record that was broken in their game.
Well, he tied an NAIA record with a 99, and they'll say 3/4, but I don't know that the .75 goes in the record books. But a 99-yard touchdown scamper. He went over the double century mark this week. There were a couple that did it. Stewart from Benedictine also went over 200 yards. It was a good day on the ground. But Morningside.
Well, what about Morningside and Dordt being 7-7 after the first quarter? I know it ended up 56-14, but still.
Dordt gave them a little bit of a scare there,
So,
and then they turned it on. So let's take a look then. After that, at our helmet stickers for this week, brought to you by 417 Helmets. Guys, if you need a helmet like the one behind us over there, if you want a mini helmet for your office.
Should have brought the mini helmet in today.
I should have brought in the mini helmet. I'm going to do that next week.
You have it. I thought I had
have the mini helmet. I have the mini
There
helmet.
you go.
I'll bring the mini helmet in next week if you need a mini helmet for your office there. If you want to start dropping hints to your wife, you want a mini helmet for Christmas, it's going to be here before you know it.
Absolutely. So 417 is definitely at least worth the follow, seeing what they're put out there.
Absolutely.
They do every team, every league, high school, pee-wee. They'll do whatever you want. It's definitely worth the man cave.
Absolutely. So let's move to our offensive helmet sticker. We went back and forth on a couple of candidates for this, both Stewart and Ponder, but then I saw what the Culver Stockton quarterback, Corbin Markham, put up. And like I said earlier, those are Cliff Kingsbury numbers right there.
Yeah, absolutely amazing game against Missouri Valley. He did it on ESPN3 as well. So
That's
awesome. That was the first game I watched waking up.
Yep.
Actually, it was Culver Stockton and Missouri Valley. And he put on a show. So for the random people that decided to watch Culver Stockton and Missouri Valley, they got a great show in the air. It's a great air show. Anytime you throw 500 yards, that's video game numbers.
That's absolutely fantastic.
So he
that's the
deserved that.
first time since 2004 that Culver Stockton has beat Moval.
Really?
Yep.
Well, congratulations, Culver Stockton.
Good. Not quite Florida, Kentucky numbers.
No.
You're getting there at that point. But 6 touchdowns, man, that's pretty good right there. And then our defensive helmet sticker is going to go to Texas College linebacker Edward McDonald. 10 tackles, 5 for loss, 3 sacks, forced fumble. I mean, what can you say? He was a one-man wrecking crew.
Texas, his teammates had a rough time, especially on the offensive ball. They were shut out this week against Lane College. But, anytime you have 10 tackles, 5 for a loss, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble,
You're doing some work.
Yeah, you deserve a 417 helmet sticker.
Absolutely. So, what to watch for this week? We've been alluding to it. I'm excited about the slate of games this weekend. Last weekend was a little bit slow.
Right, yeah.
This weekend we got ourselves some games.
Got a huge amount of games. We got 2 different top 25 matchups. That starts getting a little bit more rare within the season when you get into conference play. But we got Reinhardt going to West Palm Beach to Kaiser. You know, if I was Reinhardt, maybe if I was a player, and that's why I'm not a player anymore. But I would say let's go an extra day and spend some time at West Palm Beach. But the Seahawks are for real, Corey.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why they're in our top 25. They take care of business. They took care of Dort, an out-conference opponent. They won last week. It's going to be year to see. They're not going to be Weber.
It's not going to be an easy.
It's not going to be Reinhardt versus Weber, where Reinhardt was able to grind Weber out. I think it's going to be a war to the very end.
And we talked about Evangel earlier. Their oddness, they can absolutely prove themselves this week with a win over Culver Stockton.
You know, Coach Heppel over there really prides himself on defense. I don't see Culver Stockton throwing for 500 yards again. But, I mean, it's a game to watch for. If Andrew was to slip up, this is one of the games you would pick.
Absolutely. Maybe overlooking them a little bit before you get into the meat of your conference play there.
Right. And the next one we got Rocky Mountain versus Montana Western. Rocky Mountain came in our poll at number 21, while Montana Western's been floating around right there. They're at number 22. You know, at this point in the season, you know, for like a one-loss team in the Frontier, you know, you can make the playoffs with 3 losses, but at this point, each one kind of sets you back really for playoffs.
It would be really interesting for me to watch Rocky Mountain. You're back at home, and do you let one loss turn into 2?
Right.
Do you let yourself get beat by Carroll twice in 2 weeks?
Well, you know, Montana Western, they beat Carroll earlier in the season. Montana Western had trouble running the ball in there, but they hit the 100-yard mark.
That's going to be a war.
I'm picking Montana Western to win this game, and I've went against Rocky Mountain this whole season. But, you know, and they might show me wrong, but I'm going with Montana Western this game.
Rocky Mountain really needs to solidify who they're using at quarterback. They're going back and forth between two or three different guys right now. I'd really like to see them settle on a guy. You know, the old saying is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't actually have any.
Right.
So we've got to see them solidify on a quarterback. If they do that, then they can beat Montana Western. If you know your starter has an off day, you might have a chance to slip up.
Absolutely.
And then Southeastern. Georgetown comes down all the way to Lakeland, Florida, and plays Southeastern. You know, I don't care what Georgetown is or isn't ranked.
All right.
When you play Georgetown,
you better bring it.
You better bring it. And they know it, and they play with, like, they know that there's a target on the back.
Right. And, you know, Georgetown lost to Kentucky Christian first week of the season. First time they've ever lost to Kentucky Christian in their history. Didn't get to watch that game. When I saw the score, I was like, oh, my gosh. But I think against Southeastern, they're going to have to establish a run game, which they seem to be really pass-heavy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to see that defensive back group regroup for Georgetown. They don't have a lot of yards through the air. Even the front 7. Kentucky Christian had their way, any which way they wanted to go. If I'm Southeastern, I'm kicking a man when they're down.
So a couple things before we end up here. I'm going to raise a little trouble.
Go ahead.
So the NAI released its official coaches poll this week. Does anybody stand out to you?
I would say Siena Heights right there at the end of their top 25. I thought they would have made ours by now, but soon it'll come. It'll all work out.
Yep.
I think I know where you're going with it. I would like to see Ottawa, Arizona, that ranked number 23rd in the coaches poll. I think they should be a little higher there. Other than that, take it away.
I mean, it's not horribly bad when you compare it to ours. It's not a bad poll.
No, not
at all. I think they did a really good job. It's just so tough doing the poll after 3 weeks,
right?
Especially after, you haven't seen all.
I can't believe they have Cumberland, Tennessee, at number 25, especially after they struggled with Thomas More, which is a first-year Mid-South Conference member. But I know Coach Mathis over there. He has a great program going. No disrespect to those guys, but I'm really surprised to see the Phoenix at number 25. Siena Heights is great to be there.
I'm surprised to see Northwestern is a little low to me. St. Xavier is just a touch high.
Right.
But we'll have to see as the season bears out.
Right, I agree. And, just a little bit of differentials in our poll. But I think when we get to playoff season, gets about game 8, game 9, I think ours will probably really match up. I think the biggest thing that we saw last year was Bethel was ranked behind Reinhardt forever, after having that head-to-head win and a better record. But, that's why we're here. We're here to bring balance. The coaches over there do a great job that are on the oversight committee of their poll. But we're here to just bring a different perspective. And, they'll have times where they get on us. We'll have times when we get on them. It's just part of it.
I'll say this. There is nobody in either top 25 that is not in the other's top 25 in receiving votes.
Right. So, I mean, it's close.
Similar.
Yes, very similar.
Now, the other thing before we let y'all go is this. We are thinking about getting a little swag shop.
Yeah, I agree. You need to represent the league you play for. I'm excited to have some NAIAFBALL gear, but we send us in the DMs the stuff that you would like to have. We're going to have shirts, we're going to have hats, mugs, or the Kansas Wesleyan guy. We're going to have the NAIAFBALL and DX and NWO font. We're going to have it ready to go. So that's just a great way to support the coverage of your league if you're interested in that, especially for the parents too.
Absolutely. Yeah, let us know. Leave us a comment on our YouTube video or on Twitter.
10 years ago, people wouldn't have known where U-Pike was besides in Kentucky.
Right.
I would have, but.
And the only reason they would have known it was in Kentucky is because you got Kentucky right there.
Well, and, it's just NAIA is becoming more and more recognized.
It really is.
So, I mean, you guys are hitting NAIA at a great time. Absolutely.
So let us know what you would want to purchase, and we'll see what we can get done with that. I'm excited for a good week of football.
I'm excited as well, Corey. But anyways, guys, follow us on all platforms. NAIAFBALL top plays will be going out. We'll release the top 25 rankings. If you missed them here, we'll have them tweeted out. But we enjoy you guys. Thank you for the support. We are here for you, and look forward to talking more ball.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys.